Go.
Good afternoon to Anat, and Anat will tell you exactly who she is. She will pronounce her last name as well, but I'm very excited to have her on our Global Forum for Innovation, as Anat is at the head of a non-profitable that has a lot of creators and theater creators within it. So Anat, the ball is all yours, and please present yourself and the theater and tell us what's behind you.
Okay, so hi, I'm Anat Radnai, and I'm the CEO of an umbrella organization for independent theater makers. Independent, it means that not in terms of their tax situation, but in terms of what they do in their artistic lives. They are managing themselves. They are the initiators of any project that is being done. So this means they belong to what we call in Israel the fringe scene. Yes. In theater and performance art. And our organization actually, on one hand, it gives services to 55 members, but on the other hand, we try to give access to all the community of independent theater artists to a lot of knowledge and experience that we have, and we do it in different ways. We give a lot of workshops. All the workshops have to do with the ma'atefet. How do you say?
With the whole umbrella, or the whole
whatever they have to deal with as producers, and
the whole package that you need to be able to produce.
Yeah, we do not touch their art. They are all experienced artists. What we do is we take care of their production side, and a lot of work has to do with financial work. We help them raise money for the art, and we help them hand applications, and we manage their incomes and outcomes money-wise. We give them a lot of professional consulting. We have, and we get in touch with the whole community of independent theater artists in Israel. We are trying to reach everyone. The members, the artists that are members of the organization, they receive a bit more. We actually support them in a way. We help them with marketing. We help them. We help subsidize rehearsal rooms, etc., etc. I'll make it short so we have time for our short. Our home base is either Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. Some of them maybe Haifa and Be'er Sheva, but most of them Tel Aviv and then Jerusalem, the big cities.
For our listeners, I'm sorry to say, for listeners that are not so knowledgeable about our country, so not more or less listed our big cities. And yes.
Yeah, and then the periphery, everything else is periphery for us as artists.
Yes.
And we have to somehow approach we call it new or other audiences, other than people that are used to consume our art in the center, where it's obvious. When you're in Tel Aviv, you know where you can go to watch independent theater. But when we talk about the periphery, it's the thing is that in the periphery of Israel, on the last, I think, 20, maybe 25 years, almost every city or has small city, medium city, doesn't matter the scale of the city, built what we call
a cultural center.
A cultural center, but it's the thing is that it's not a creative center. Sorry, I have to put it off.
It's a building, right?
It's not a creation. It's a building. It's walls. And then they have to fill it up with programs, and it's almost never a local program. It's always import. They import things from Tel Aviv, from the big cities. Okay.
It's never local community. You mean they don't import out of Israel? Yeah.
No, not out of Israel. Out of the city. I mean, they don't have their own creative theater. They have a venue, and now they have to fill it up with things. So they invite
content,
dance, concerts, theater from the center, from the main repertoire theater mainly, which are the big theaters in Israel, to their venues.
And what is your approach as the head of Eve? How do you see it?
The thing is, so the thing is, it's very complicated to explain the whole system
Yeah, of course.
in the 15 minutes we have. But the thing is that the big theaters, the repertoire theaters are stronger, much stronger. They have marketing systems, huge systems that help them get to all these small cities. And for the independent artists that do not have
Such a system.
marketing departments, right? They have to market themselves. And since, and another thing is that it's not only money-wise, it's not only the marketing departments, but also stars. Usually when you see a play in our, for example, Habima Theater, which is the national theater in Israel, usually they will put stars that are very well known from TV shows or Israeli movies on stage.
On social media for young people.
Social media these days, and they will, and then it's easier for them to sell the theater, the performance to other cities, while in the independent theater, very interesting and
unique
a lot of unique and innovative theater is being created, but hardly any celebs taking part of it, and then it's harder to sell. But when I say this, it's only on one leg, as we say in Hebrew. It's only a very small. So going back to
you mean that you don't have enough time to give the whole story behind?
Yeah, the whole story behind.
But can I stop you for a minute? I want to share with you what you know more than myself, that in all over the world, there's a problem that the more fringe and sometimes things that have more cultural, deep value, education, etc., they need the help of the public broadcasting.
Yeah,
Sesame Street, that for years was running by PBS in America, and so I guess, isn't that kind of similar to what's going on in Israel?
I don't think, maybe it's in a way it's similar, but
so I understand that it's in the outer cities, the small towns, municipalities, they invite culture from the middle of Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. But I want you to tell me, as someone from your organization, what is the importance of having community theater, community art, or art that grows within it? And right afterwards, explain why your organization is the perfect fit for such municipalities to do such things.
I'll answer this through an example.
Yes.
A few years ago, we initiated, thanks to an active act of support from our Ministry of Culture Affairs, Ministry of Culture, sorry.
Yes. Foreign affairs, it's good.
They invested money. They decided to put budgets and give it straight to the periphery, not to the art institutions, but to the municipalities.
Yes.
And they defined it with, that it will be money, that it will be budget that should be invested in. There were 2 or 3 ideas, and they gave the responsibility to the person who's in charge on culture in the local municipality to decide what he does. When we heard about this, we decided to invent something and offer it to different municipalities around Israel. What we did is that we created a group of artists from our organization that have the skills to be an artistic director of a small event, of a festival. And the idea of the festival was a festival that in a way corresponds with the local community.
Amazing.
We offered it to different municipalities. We had success with one small municipality, which is called Be'er Yaakov. And what we did there is that we curated a festival that was based on both work of professional artists with the community,
yes,
and on work that we invited under a topic that we invented
on.
A topic. It took place mainly outdoor, and there were a few indoor performances, but mostly outdoor and free to the public. And I will give you an example of work that we did with the community. One of our artists is Elite Weber, which is a very, very interesting visual and puppet theater artist. And she is also a very talented storyteller.
Yes.
And what she did is that we made a connection with, we learned, what we did is, first of all, we did a research about Be'er Yaakov, okay?
The community where you did
about
it,
the history of the community, about the history of the place, about the different groups, different small organizations they have, different afternoon courses. We try to find interesting groups inside the community. We found a group of how do you say, elderly people, okay, that meets every
senior
week.
citizens.
Senior citizens that meets every week, that live for a long time in this city. And Elite worked with them. She worked with them on storytelling,
yes,
based on their history in Be'er Yaakov. And together they built a small performance that was built from different stories that were told by these senior citizens to the public.
Wow.
So this is one work.
Was the public drawn into it? Did you get a lot of...
Yes. It
wow.
was very, very interesting. I can give you another example that I was part of in a different city in Israel. We did there's every year there's a festival in the south of Israel, in a city called Ofakim, which is, okay, never mind who organizes it, but in this there was a project, an interesting project that we did with the community. We searched we went to the center of town, and now when I say town, it's not a big city, it's really a town. Okay, there's one
little town.
a little town, and there's one center and maybe 3 streets that have shops in it. And we spoke with the shop owners, and we shared with them our idea to create small performances in their shops that correspond with their stories and the store story, okay, the shop story or content. And when we it was really weird because we kind of fell on them, and we had to really do a work with them so they understand what we want from them. Okay, they have no connection to performance or art usually, maybe music, but that's it.
Isn't it kind of corresponding to what presenters do today with their social media? That like the products together with their personal stories, everything is mixed up and it brings more audience.
Yeah, so what we did is that after we found them, we marked the shop owners that were willing to go to this adventure. We made an open call to artists and invited them to create work for the festival inside a shop.
Oh, thank God.
And then there was 7 shops that took part in it, and we took the audience in groups of 7 people. Every time it's like really small shops. It's not it's not Marks and Spencer or whatever. It's not
mom and dad shops.
Yeah, it's like exactly. There was a תבלינים?
Shop for spices.
Shop, and a small clothes shop, and a lottery shop, a small shop that sells cards for the lottery, and different shops like this. And we coupled, an artist with the shop owner.
Wow.
And the artist went into work, I think 3 months they got for it, and they created a small work. And then the whole event was audience going on a tour
from one place
for short performances from one shop to the other. So this was another.
Did that draw also audience?
Yes, it's, I must say that we did not, I think it's not us, but the organizer of the festival, every year they have a challenge to connect the local people to the festival, because since it's such a good festival, a lot of people come from outside of Ofakim to see the performances. And always the struggle there is always how to involve the community more, and through that invite the community to watch everything that is happening, to take part in all the festival. So these are small ideas
oh, yeah,
of what can be done, and it has to be. In Hebrew we say לתפור זה באופן אישי. It's like
custom made.
It's custom made. It's custom made to the community. I mean, we come to a community, we investigated, we interview people, and then we create something that is in a way tailor-made, and is a combination that has it has a very focused curation, because it's important.
Yes.
But it's always involves the community. And
So,
and another thing I think is that it's not it can't be crowded. It's a community event. It's not an event that invites thousands, but hundreds.
yes.
Okay, this is the idea. So it's intimate, still it's big, but it's intimate. It's not it's not a performance of a
It's a more
it's not a large scale performance. It's a community scale performance of hundreds of people.
That's beautiful. So I want to ask you regarding that, what would, first of all, I want to share with our audience, if there's anyone out there from any kind of municipality around the world, you are welcome to make contact with us on our website, and we can connect you if you would like to ask questions, or if there are any ideas that are done within this organization that interest you, or if you'd like any training, please let us know. But I want to know, what are your expectations from municipalities in such communities? Not what is your experience, what are your expectations from a municipality? How would you like them to help you? One, and two, why do you think it's a win-win for your organization, because your artists can make a living, but why is it so important for a community and for the municipality to understand it and to lead it for the community? That's what I
think.
want.
I think that first of all, I believe that art, any form of art, connects people.
Absolutely.
So, and people live in cities, and these days when everybody is so much connected to screens, there's less of a feeling of a real neighborhood. Okay, when I was young, and I'm sure it's like this all over the world, we were more outside playing with each other, knowing the community, knowing each other, knowing the owners of the shop or shops around us, and we were more of a community.
Yes.
And I think that the last, I don't know, 50 years, or I don't know how long, maybe 30, 25 years, we're somehow we're going in, and we're separating from the feeling of community, of being together.
Yes.
And when you see live arts, you have to be together. It's something it's an experience that you can experience only when you're together.
But it also brings the people outdoors, right?
And it brings the people
community. It creates community.
It creates a community. And if it's systematic, it can really create a community. Because if it's a one-time thing, okay, it's nice. But then if the strategy is to create an ongoing event, like ongoing events, series of events like this in the community, it always succeeds. It gives you a feeling of belonging. It gives you a feeling of togetherness, and it raises the commitment of the citizen, of the people that live in this area, to their area and to the city. You know, it's you feel at home, not only between your four walls, but also when you go out to the park or to the garden, you feel at home. And I think that when you feel at home, you want to stay there for a long time. You want to live there. You want to be.
You want your children to grow up and stay there.
Yeah. You know, I think that in Tel Aviv, for example, now a lot of things like this happen. There's a lot of a lot like I live in Tel Aviv, so the municipality really invests in the community, and Tel Aviv is in terms of Israeli cities is big.
Yeah.
It's divided to neighborhoods, and now there's a lot of community art, professional art and community are meeting a lot these days, and I feel that there's it really influences it, a lot of people,
Atmosphere.
the atmosphere, and especially I think it's great when you do it in less developed neighborhoods, in neighborhoods that are maybe characterized by maybe more hard day people that they don't even have in their Sidrei Adifuyot, in their
It's not even in their priorities to get art
priority to
because they're busy
consume art,
surviving.
because they're busy surviving. And then when you bring art to their door
They love it.
and involve them in an eye level, not as someone that now gives them art. Okay, I know what art is.
Not as the patron of the art, but come and
Yes.
join us.
Yeah. Then it's, I think it pays off in the future. It's planning to long-term art. I don't like the word consume. What is the other word in English for?
Art consumer, art. Listen, these people become patrons of the art because patrons are always the people that come.
Yeah, one of our challenges here in Israel, I think, is to educate and to bring from a very young age to connect between children and the arts, so we can influence their to make sure that they will keep on not working as artists, but consuming art, mainly in the performance art, because music, music you can consume with this, and it's very popular. It's much more reachable for everyone. But when in terms of theater, dance, visual arts, it's much harder, and we have to grow the future audiences, and we have to do it by making art accessible and simple for them, and not patronizing, not closed in fancy buildings, because if we want people to come and use these facilities and come to the museum at the end of the day, or when they're grown-ups, it has to come from it has to start in very young age. I'm sure everybody that listens to this agree with me, but we have to not only work on how to get them inside the buildings, but bring the art to right to their doorstep. How do you say door?
Yeah, to their doorstep, and also you're saying make it relevant to their community life.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is that you can enroll them, that they can be participants of professional art creation. So this is
that's an amazing point. I mean, obviously it's not instead of allowing people all over a country to enjoy also the high level arts. It's an addition for sure.
But I want to say something. It's high level art. This is what I'm trying to say.
I'm sorry, high budget art. I should not have said high level.
Yeah.
High budget, to bring. It's not, I mean, I'm sure you have nothing against bringing plays or shows, but this is an activity that brings.
But in order for plays of show to arrive even to a neighborhood, so people will buy tickets to the theater, they have to understand art. And
I agree.
And if they don't have the education from young age, and if it's not given to them and not only charged from them,
absolutely,
then it's very hard to make it happen, especially here when I think that we opened the talk, and I think one of the things I said is that we don't, in Israel, one of the challenges, I think that we are a mixed city, mixed country, and people are coming from all over the world, came in the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and even now from, and not, and yeah, and I don't know, maybe challenges of a multicultural issues also has to do with it. Okay, I don't want to open another conversation.
Yeah, a
because
whole
the whole-
new discussion. We
but
can
I
meet
think
again
that
about that.
as a state, as a country, we
Yes.
don't have a legacy of arts. We don't have it. We have multiculturalism. We have tradition, and from this we create and an education for from very young age, and accessibility of the arts to everyone is so important, and this is why we're talking about what we're talking.
So I wanted to say something. One second. Carl, I'm recording. Can you close the door? Carl? Thank you. So, I wanted to say that one of the reasons that we chose to have you is that a smart city is a city that has in it what your organization offers. A smart city is not only gorgeous neighborhoods, gorgeous buildings, there has to be a feeling of community. And I want to tell you that on a personal level, do you know now with COVID and when we were in closure, it was amazing to see how they had trucks going through some townships. And you saw all the people going outside and standing on their, I'm sorry, on their porches or on their, I forgot how you say mirpeset. Standing on what?
On the porch, I think.
Yeah, I think. Standing outside and looking and trying to see each other from windows, and people are in search of community. And it's known that there are many small cities that have all these cultural activities, and it really draws people into it. And I think that many people that grew up in small towns will tell you this is the feeling, you know, in some places in the world, it's the spring parade, and in other places, it's the summer concert. And so I definitely agree with you of its importance. I think the two things you need from a municipality is obviously budget, but you also need probably from them acknowledgement of the importance and to be able to use their publications and to use their social media.
And I think another thing, I think what I expect is to be open, without obligation, to be open to the idea that an artist, interpreter, I don't know how to say this word in English, I can never.
Correct, interpreter.
Could maybe contribute something, maybe has a new, a good idea, and that it's worthwhile sitting and thinking about something. Because I'll say why I'm saying it. Sometimes what I noticed is that people that are in charge of culture in small cities or in cities at all, sometimes there's a tension between an interpreter, an artist that comes to the with an idea, to the local person that is in charge of culture.
The administrative, the culture administrator and the artist. That's the.
Yeah, and I think that what I expect is that there will be more openness to such initiations, and because I think that such a marriage between the city and whoever is dealing with art in the city, or art in community, or community, and artists with ideas, artists that are really committed to art with the community, it could be a very successful marriage with a lot of children.
For sure, it's win-win.
It's a win-win situation, but without a but. It's a win-win
No,
situation.
Because of what you said, that it causes people to be more engaged through the art. It means they're more engaged with the community. They want to stay. They want their children to stay. And we know what that means to the city financial person. It's more taxes, more money, more life, more blood, more everything. So it's an amazing kind of corporation.
And it can come from us, which we deal with theater and performance art, but it could come from other art areas as well. For example, there was a very interesting, a few years ago, it doesn't exist anymore, Stop Me, if you want to stop me, but
No, I want to hear.
there was a Biennale for, they called it the Biennale for Architecture. It took place in the suburbs of Tel Aviv, in a small city that it's called Bat Yam.
Yes.
And they did a really interesting, the whole festival, this whole Biennale was drawn or was based on community, and they did a lot of projects involving citizens from the city. They did a תהליכים,
processes,
art design process with the community. For example, I don't know, a group of architecture had ongoing meetings with citizens from a certain building. Together they thought what they need in the public space around their building.
What the vision is.
Yeah, and they created it together, and it was built for them during the Biennale. So they did a lot of interesting work together with the local community and changed the public space with them.
Amazing.
And so it was really, really interesting. Some of the projects lived only for the festival. I mean,
yeah,
it was short-term project, but some of them stayed in the public space until today. So
amazing. So what I would like to ask you in the future, you don't have to answer now. I think that in the future we could think of having some kind of online activities, inviting people from other countries to learn from your experience and to learn what is needed. And so for all of you girls and guys that are listening to us, this is our plan to try and use as much as we can Anat's and her people in her organization's experience and enthusiasm. So do you want to tell me what's behind you? Because I'm sure people
yeah,
are
I was thinking
curious.
about it also. Okay, so I'm not in the middle of I don't know, a deserted place. Our office is situated inside a set and props storage. We have a small storage for independent theater makers. So my table,
So cool.
the back of my table is part of the shelves that our artists use. So it looks like a big balagan in Hebrew, but it's actually,
it looks like a mess, but it's really cool.
but it's props. Some of them are more organized, so you'll see closed boxes, but some of them, like in my back, are a bit more chaotic when they put their stuff. Yeah, that they don't.
I want to say that you, as I said before, please make contact with us online so that if you have any ideas or any questions, we will be happy to forward them to Anat and to her organization. And Anat, this is only our first meeting here, and I have so many things I want to ask and do. So I'd like to thank you, and thank you all for viewing us, and see you soon.
See you.